This week on Zen and Not Zen, BroTime edition.
Try to wind down 69 me, but didn't hear a damn word I said.
I remember that
song. It's so good. I felt like Alanis was in the room right now.
Yeah, right? You did a good, like,
you
got that twang in the voice. Also about Dave Coulier.
Yeah. Totally. Dave Coulier, 69. Get out of my brain. Out of my brain. Get out of my brain. Get out of my brain.
That's a limp note for me.
BroTime.
Well, there's, it's all these different things that we find out now that we have, we've been on this earth longer and we've got instrumentation, all this shit.
Like 6,000 years, give or take.
Well, depending on who you talk to.
Jesus horses,
Exactly.
Graham Hancock.
They found some fucking wood. Found some wood on a hillside that's, dated to Noah time.
Yeah, well, Graham Hancock says we've been around for about 10,000 years, civilization-wise. But anyway, so but the smell of fresh cut grass is grass sending off the pheromones to let it know it's in trouble and let other grass know it's in trouble. So it's basically the fear of grass is what we love the smell of.
Fucking A.
Isn't that crazy? Like shit like that.
So what is it doing when it gets all over those fresh white New Balances?
Yeah, it's just
it's
my
retribution.
blood.
My blood.
It
is showing its signal.
I was walking chicken the other day at the park, and there's this part at Magnuson that's like a nature reserve. And it's outside the fenced dog park. And so I was walking her, and all of a sudden I see this like little creature like jumping over this tall grass, and I thought like a dog had gotten out of the dog park. And so I go over there because I think it's a loose dog, and it's a mother rabbit chasing after its baby rabbit, which is in the mouth of a crow, flying just high enough over the mother, taunting it. Wasn't even eating it.
Yeah.
The baby is screaming. The rabbit is jumping higher than I've ever seen in my life, and I'm just standing there like I'm witnessing a homicide. Like the nature is so cruel. And then
nature is fucking metal.
and the crow didn't even eat the baby.
Yeah,
it killed
I saw
it,
that shit on a bike
dropped
trail.
it off.
Yeah, I saw it
flew
drop it.
out without the baby, and the mother is jumping all over looking for this baby.
God.
And I was just like, nature.
On the interurban bike trail, there's plenty more bunnies to go around.
Oh my God. It was just, I stood there frozen. I was like, I have to witness this because someone has to like validate this poor thing's existence.
Go watch the majesty of a bald eagle just fucking take out a school of ducklings.
Oh, yeah. Watched one drown one for 5 minutes, also at the dog park. I witness animal homicide all the fucking time.
But with an eagle and
beauty.
But with an eagle and a duckling, the eagle's going to eat that duckling.
Exactly,
The crow is just being a dick. That's interesting because nature typically there's a reason.
Right.
Is it a
Nature
crow
has a
or
reason.
a raven?
I
think
it was a crow.
Yeah.
I think it was a crow.
The difference is in the tail. Ravens are generally bigger, but they have a fucking different tail feathers.
Yeah, it's
I think
more
it's
of like
flat.
a...
Yeah.
Or is it a diamond?
I think theirs are more rounded and the crow's
I
are
also
more
think
flat.
their heads are a little more bulbous.
fucking huge. I saw them in Mount Bachelor, and they usually hang out in pairs and shit, and they're like gigantic motherfuckers. I'm just like, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
On.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, I also saw, like, a clip of, like, a group of 30 orcas, like, kill a baby gray whale online the other day. But I was like, okay, but they're, like, sustaining their life. Like, this crow...
Have you seen the orcas hunt the seal on the ice?
Yes!
There's
Going
a fucking
underneath
seal
it?
hanging out on the ice. Like, we're gonna break up his island that he's chilling on. It's the most savage shit I've ever seen.
There's some smart motherfuckers.
They are.
That shit's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's sad to watch, but, like, ultimately they have to eat, and it's not going to be pretty.
It's
but
nature,
this fucking crow
Don't
was
worry,
clearly
the
taunting
commercial
this rabbit.
fishing industry and the commercial plastic industry is doing their part to fucking keep our orca population down.
Dude, do you remember... so Chef Matt told me this story one time when he was working on the
Spoke to him
the cruise
yesterday.
boats. Oh, right on. Fuck yeah, I miss that guy. But he was when him and he was working on the cruise boats in Alaska.
Yeah.
The upper deck was for like the guests and all that stuff, and the lower deck was for like the staff and their breaks and all that shit. And he said that one day in the middle of the day they were out there, just everybody's taking a break, and said that there was like this whole like orca like pot of orcas going by, and everybody's like, oh, look at that, orcas and blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, like National Geographic shit happened. Like they came across some seals and just like demolished guts everywhere. Like shit was spraying red all over. And Matt was saying like all the staff downstairs were like, fucking nature. And you could hear everybody up top crying and be like, no, not the seals.
I know, and the orcas will like flip the dead carcasses of seals just to like play with them and shit. Like nature, fucking grass is even fucking, damn.
good shit.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to exist.
Oh man. So yeah, like we went to Spokane a couple weeks ago, and that's my first time to Spokane in a while.
I went there last year to go
Okay.
to a concert at the Knitting Factory, which
Yep.
is great.
Yeah.
And I was born in Spokane, and I wanted to.
Oh, shit,
I
I
went
didn't
know
to.
that.
I went to. Well, you and I, we went to that show in Liberty Lake, which is a little bit outside of
Yep.
Spokane. But I went there a year ago, wanting to fucking hate it, wanting to talk shit. Big city boy from Seattle. Fuck
Yeah.
you. Herp a derp, burp a
The
derp a
can.
slurp. Saw a little bit of that, especially at a country show that I was at. But Spokane's fucking easy. It's nice, relatively
It
clean.
really is.
Yeah.
I mean, just like all areas of Washington right now,
Shit.
there's a kind of an uptick of homeless population.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
we felt safe the entire time
Oh.
we were there. But
Did you guys stay with friends?
no, we had an Airbnb, this
Okay.
like apartment. It was right across the street from the place we were doing a sound bath at, and right around the corner, we went and saw Trevor Noah.
Oh,
It was so
that
fucking
good?
good. Oh my god, he's hilarious. It was great, and I could tell it was like one of the early shows. Like it's
He's
not
feeling
like
it out.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was like feeling the jokes out. He's wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
He was talking a lot about like respect the flag and like all this shit. And the content was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was great. I
I
can't
saw
wait
him
to
in
see
Portland a
him
couple
kind of
years
like,
ago, and he was real good.
Yeah.
Real good.
But on the Alan Stone front, so I had Alan Stone on my other podcast not too
Yeah.
long ago. Great. It was good to catch up with him.
He was on American Idol recently.
Yes, he was. He was one of the coaches.
I know,
Yeah,
I
my
saw
podcast dropped
that.
right before that came out.
No
it was great. So like, I
shit.
got a lot of publicity from that.
Fuck yeah.
Just by proxy, right? But so Alan has been doing the backyard or the camp out still, but he's been selling tickets to it now.
Yeah.
The last one he had last year, he said he had like 1,000 people at it. He just hired me to do a sound bath
Yeah.
for the next one.
For
this
1,000.
one
I'm
coming
so
up.
excited for you.
I'm like, dude, it's so exciting.
So is he
It's like
doing
the
it
end
at
of
Was that like
Same place?
September?
I think it's the same place. It's going to be the end of September instead of August. I think is when you and Hannah and I went.
Yeah.
How much are tickets?
I'm not sure yet. He just started announcing it on his Instagram.
Well, that's gonna
Let
be
me know.
a
I might
way-
wanna go.
That one we
Yeah.
went to was a way more. That was probably like 100 people.
Yeah, it's like 70, 80 people.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was very intimate. Nobody paid. Like
Yeah.
it was literally like his
Well,
friends.
it was like $50, and it's like that's literally paying for because he rented out
Yeah.
a fucking summer camp. I
Yeah.
mean,
Just yeah.
It was so cool.
Throw
like
in your
there
pot.
is a price on that. I haven't explored what it is. He did.
Yeah.
It's about 55 a person.
Yeah, right, exactly. But you know what's interesting? Like, because I was thinking a lot about that time that we had, and I had a great time. But
Fucking broken collarbone.
you did have a broken collarbone.
God, that's-
But there was the first full night that we were there. Like we had the concert, right, and that was a lot of fun because people just kept getting up and playing.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
fantastic. And then there was like this festivity afterwards. And I don't know what happened to me, but I got blackout drunk. Like I
don't
got
know
like
what happened.
drunk as shit. Like
Yeah,
don't
we
remember
did too.
anything. I think
Yeah.
I threw up a bunch. Like,
Oh,
but
you
not.
threw up that night?
I think I did, but in the bathroom. I don't think
Fuck.
anybody knew or anything like that.
Yeah, I didn't know
But,
that.
low-key.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got super drunk, and it was like I was kind of disappointed in myself the next day
We went
because
to-
like
yeah, we missed out.
that's my dude. Like
Yeah.
Alan's my guy, and I haven't seen him in a while. I'm very proud of his progress and his success, and I wasn't able to really have that moment to talk to him about it, or maybe I did.
Yeah,
I don't
I
even
don't
remember.
know.
Yeah.
Maybe we did
But,
have a moment.
But you know, those moments like that, you know, were those
You had a tough
catalysts.
time on that bunk bed, man. You had a
Oh, I
tough
did
time on
have
that
a tough
bunk
time
bed.
on that bunk bed,
And then I
man.
remember calling you out about that. You're like, yeah, you had a tough time getting your sleeping bag open. I'm like, I got one fucking arm.
But it was like I just remember it was kind of like mayhem that was going on, like because there was just so many people around doing shit in and out of doors and rooms, and I'm just kind of like I remember just being miserable and drunk.
that's
But
the
you know, it's
worst.
moments like that that I think back when I think I'm like, oh, I can handle drinking and I can go back to it. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you can't. You're okay.
Yeah.
You're fine.
It just
where you're
steals
at.
nice
Yeah, it's
moments.
just not good for me anymore. I'm not anti-alcohol.
Totally,
I'm
totally.
pro getting fucked up. I just can't get fucked up anymore. So if anything, I'm just jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, as you said, oh, that'd be good with vodka. I can't fucking
Yeah,
do that
I know.
anymore. I'm sick of that too. But I'd fucking be on my third or fourth, and it's like, great, it's noon.
Well, I mean, that can be a little stair step into a part of our category is the beauty and understanding that choice that you have now, right? So the
Yeah.
choice of saying like, hey, you know what? I can do that, right? Yes, it's completely within my willpower
Didn't
to do
feel
that.
like a choice then, though. Kind of felt like almost like, well, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's fucking science to back that up, but for me, it was like, no, okay, you're gonna feel sick if you don't, kind of scenario.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You
But
know,
some
we
people
can't-
fight past that and they
Yeah.
accept that, you
Yeah,
know.
fuck.
And so there is a beauty in rock bottom, right? There is a beauty in people's rock bottoms, and it's all different for people because once you sometimes we don't know how bad it is until we know how bad it is.
Right.
And when you hit the rock bottom, yes, we can wallow in that, and that's a place to be. But you can also find the beauty in the journey back up, right? And everybody fucking loves a comeback story, right? And so, like, your comeback story is unique to you because you're the one that got yourself there. But the beauty in that is you understanding how strong you actually are, and forgiving yourself for whatever you think you might have done wrong, because it's all part of that journey. Like, you got to do the shit to get to the point now. Like, everything that happened in your world, in your life, led you to this exact moment, right? All the good, the bad, and the indifferent, right? Can't be any other way.
Yeah. Like it, and also like proving to yourself that like you said at the time, it didn't feel like a choice, but now you're in a different place and you can see that like, I mean, I don't want to speak for you because I mean, I don't know what sobriety, but like knowing that something maybe 10 years ago you felt like you didn't have the strength to say no, but like now that now you do kind of.
I mean, I think a lot of it was in a part of it's I've had a decent amount of time and over 3.5 years to think about like life pre and post drinking and all that, but it was like part of it's an identity that you associate with, or at least that I associated with, and that part of it was routine, and I like to do this after work, and that's what we do, but there was always a core group that always did that. I was 100% always in that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There are always people that do it, and they'll maybe have one, or they'll have none.
Yeah.
But they don't go out every night. You know, those people don't end up having problems and shit. But it was, I don't even remember, one of the things I remember shortly before I finally fucking dried out was I was at a concert at the Crocodile with my best friend, and I remember doing shots with him at the bar, and I remember, he remembers this very well. I remember it, but he just said, I told him, I'm like doing a shot with him, like, this isn't even fun anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that was, I mean, I'd thought that for a very long time, but it's just like, okay, you're at a concert, you love doing that, you like drinking, you're with your best friend, okay, and so
why isn't this
really
more fun?
by definition, everything should be going well.
Yeah.
But it was just totally like fucking maintenance at that point. It's like, okay, who are you even trying to do this for? Because, at the time, like, it's peer pressure, you want to be cool, you want to say you can hang with your coworkers and peers, you don't want to be a quote square, but now it's like, okay, now you're by yourself, or you're with your best friend, or you're, whatever, and it's like, you're still kind of putting on airs, or at least I was, that, you're a party guy, good to have fun. It's like drinking by yourself, having like liquor at the middle of the afternoon by yourself, regardless of where you are.
Yeah.
Even if you're on a fucking beach in Key West, probably not the best look.
Yeah.
Right.
But it took me years. Took me fucking years to get there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we have to go through those processes, and sometimes we find our way out, sometimes we don't, and that's unfortunate, but again, that's part of the journey, but. Yeah,
I had that moment I was doing coke, like, really, really a lot in Melting Pot when I was in my 20s, and it was, like, the same kind of thing where it was like, oh, this is what we do after work,
and
it's a fun
restaurant,
thing.
It's not a fun, get over here and do a bump.
Yeah, and I remember I had a class, I was going to community college, and I had this class, and I had this, like, full-length mirror in my bedroom, and I was doing coke, like, before my, like, 10 a.m. class.
Oh, yeah,
and I remember seeing myself in this long mirror that I had, like, on my bed, and I was like, we might need to have a chat with us for a second. Like, this is no longer a fun thing. This is a necessity kind of feeling where, like, I need to do this to get through the day. And I'm like, oh, this has gotten to a point.
Same kind of thing. It's just like, fuck, dude.
You kids. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't spend my kids' diaper money on cocaine. Jesus fucking Christ, man.
But it happens so fast and seamlessly when you go from that point of like, oh, I just do this as a party, like drink or drugs or whatever. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're doing it to like sustain and just like, oh, so I don't feel like shit today, or I don't like whatever the case may be. But there was never like a choice moment that it happened. It just all of a sudden I'm here. Like I don't remember getting from point A to point B.
Well, it's always so gradual.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
It's just, I mean, I mean, I'm a huge, weed enthusiast and stuff, but it's just like I started off, quote, with a dime bag, and I think the next thing I bought after that was a quarter.
Yeah. Gateway drug.
So yeah, well, I hate that fucking stigma too, but at the same time, I will say
I did coke before I did weed, so that's some
crazy.
Bullshit.
That's absolutely
well, because I grew up in
insane.
Arizona and our weed was not legal at the time.
Sorry to say crazy insane because that's got a negative connotation, but doesn't that blow your mind a little bit?
So every time someone's like, "Oh, it's a gateway drug," and I was like, I didn't even have that gateway drug. Like I didn't really start smoking weed until I moved up here because I mean the irony is hilarious.
Hey, there's
like,
your dog
I didn't
saying
want to buy.
Good afternoon, neighborhood.
She's like, Coke.
The beauty of the sun.
It's the color of me.
Coke, it's the color of me. blonde as the
I look
driven
like an
snow.
8-ball. Yeah, like I just like the weed wasn't the drug that I wanted. Like for me, it just
Yeah.
made me feel like like I couldn't do it at a party. Still really can't. Like even when I'm hanging out with you guys, if I start smoking weed, I go inward and I go quiet. So like it's an alone
whoa! We don't
want
want
to
to shatter our tens and tens of listeners here. Just the notion that we may
just in
smoke weed
social
during the
settings with you all is all. But like when
tens
I'm
and tens of listeners are switching off their AM transistors
fuck
right now.
this.
Ham radios are going down left and right.
Yeah, like weed is not a fun social drug for me because it's I get overwhelmed by
Yeah.
thinking about what I'm saying. But coke is
Yeah.
the opposite. Like
Yeah.
everything's great. I want to talk. I want to do this. I want
No.
to dance. So like for me, that was like the party drug, and so I did that way before I did
Do
weed.
you remember that? Do you remember that alcohol class we took at the Hook years ago?
Yes.
That was talked about kind of that golden pocket of intoxication.
Yes.
Where you're
I
like
think about it all the
like,
time.
Like it's basically like 0.05 to like 0.11 or some shit.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah,
yeah.
you're kind of drunk, but I'm like, oh yeah, that. I'm
And
like,
how to
basically,
maintain the buzz.
I breezed past that back when I was drinking. Like, cool, that's fucking. Let's get going.
Yeah.
But no, I mean,
That's the first round.
There
Yeah.
is that thing. I mean, I was never wired that way. I was just always trying to pile on. But it is like where you can maintain that like beer and a half.
yeah.
I was never that.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
I used to joke around when I worked at Jillian's that there's like, because I'm a shitty pool player and I worked at a pool hall for almost 10 years. Like, terrible pool player.
I've never played pool with you.
Hey,
We should all go play
horrible.
pool and go
we
suck
should.
at it.
Well, I mean, you and I haven't been to a fucking bar in God knows how
Yeah,
long.
yeah, it's been a
You
while.
know?
But I
You and I
used
used to go hit out the no.
But I used to make this joke that like between my second and third drink, I was really good at pool.
Yeah.
Because it probably did. I finally hit that perfect buzz mark, that inhibition where like I didn't care, but I cared enough.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, things are happening, and I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm good at pool. And then like that next drink would come, and I'm like,
Or it just
scratching,
stop,
like,
or it
Yeah.
just mellows out your
gouging the fucking
DTs
felt
so
and
your
shit.
fucking hands stop shaking.
Well, the shitty thing about that magic
God.
golden spot of being drunk is when I feel the best. And so I'm like, yeah, I want another one. And then I'm immediately out of it. So like I have to remember, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to get any drunker than I am right now. I just want to maintain this
yes.
because it happens very quick.
Well, so talking about beauty today, and different aspects of beauty, I guess. What kind of sparked this for you, man?
You said beauty in the text message.
That's what I thought too.
Okay. That
was
Because
it.
you said
All right.
beauty
That
and then
was
you
it.
said, let's talk
Perfect.
about beauty.
Yeah, exactly. So, Robin, you've been thinking about beauty. I did go to Bouchard Gardens over the weekend. That's fucking pretty,
There you go.
quote,
There you go.
beautiful.
Yep. Well, I
But-
think that's a great thing. Like it's beauty is definitely it's what is perceived, right? So how do you perceive beauty? How what I perceive as beautiful might be different than what you perceive as beautiful.
Yeah.
Having two very young women, young daughters, the idea of universal beauty is very, very troubling.
The standard.
Y'all remember Andy Hastings?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hosted,
Yeah.
right? So she was going to UW.
Shout out
Bothell.
to Andy.
Shout out to Andy. And she kept talking about these feminine studies classes that she was in. And they were just fascinating. Like, she would talk to me about them. I'm like, this is way, like, stuff I'm not thinking about. This is years and years and years ago. When I was still an ignorant human. Much more ignorant than I am now, I should say.
Yeah.
And,
Before he was woke.
Yeah.
oh, fuck no, dude.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
It's beautiful.
Welcome.
That's in the woke
Christ.
in the woke community.
Oh, my God. But, so she took me, so I asked her one day, I'm like, can people go to these classes that aren't paying? She's like, yeah. There's,
Audit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, can I go to a couple classes? So she let me go to a couple classes. And it was interesting. One class they talked about female genitalia mutilation, which is crazy that I had no idea that was still common practice.
Not really my jam.
And but the other
Shouldn't
thing,
be anyone's,
the
really.
second
Fair.
time I went, they were talking about how airbrushing and graphic design has just abolished beauty standards because even what we would consider, I guess, a standardized societal beauty, that mark of beauty. Let's say, like in the '90s, it'd be like a Cindy Crawford or something like that, right?
Elle
For a woman.
McPherson, huh?
It
Right?
depends on and I just watched that Brooke Shields documentary for talking about beauty. That shit blew my mind.
Shit,
but yes,
it's-
continue.
Right. Well, so the point they were making is that we could have the most stereotypical beautiful person that we think is, and they're on a cover of a magazine, but they're still airbrushed.
Right.
There's
It's
still
not even
lines
them.
taken away.
So-
There's still color added. So but basically what we're saying is that no matter how pretty and beautiful we think you are, you're still not good enough.
Yeah.
We still have to doctor you up.
So
and that's fucked up.
in community college, so this would be probably 10 years before Andy was going. Fuck, I'm older. They talked about, and I think it was my intro to psych class, the cover of Pretty Women. That's not Julia Roberts' legs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right.
Like, and that's, pretty iconic fucking photo. And that's like, I think that's honestly the only thing there is like a portion of her face.
Yeah.
Right.
All the other shit is some other lady's arms, some other lady's fucking legs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there was that big smash hit by CNC Music Factory in the 90s, right? Step to the right, work it all night. Music, right? That
yeah,
song?
keep going, though.
The music is my mind.
Come on now, sweat.
Everybody dance
baby.
now. Right, so that
music
song, the music video is this like, stereotypically like thin, sexy-esque type African-American woman singing and dancing, doing all the shit.
Yeah.
The woman that actually sang that song was a, like 200+ pound woman.
Not the same woman.
Not the same woman at all.
Wow.
You'd
'Cause
be
it was
so
her
surprised
And she
how
didn't even
often
know
that
happened
happens.
until the video came out.
Yeah.
She's like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
Why is this woman singing my part?"
Well,
It's
like
like Phoebe
I'm not pretty
and
enough to be on
and
TV.
Smelly Cat. Phoebe and Smelly Cat.
Right,
Same
right,
thing. Yeah. It happens
holy
all the
shit.
time.
Well,
yeah.
it's like Milli Vanilli obviously fucking knew that was going on, but so
Right.
because the singer on that would be more classically, attractive African American woman, and then there was that other guy who was like kind of the beat poet guy's like, bull.
Yeah, hey, he was rocking the man bun before it was popular.
Yeah, it's a fucking man bun, yeah.
But see, and that's
like
so,
real McCoy.
And that's there used to be, and I don't say it used to be, but there's this conversation that used to happen a lot, and I remember being a part of it a lot. That was like if MTV was around in the 50s and 60s and 70s, most of those musicians wouldn't be musicians because they weren't quote unquote pretty enough, like the Mamas and the Papas, and Janis Joplin, even Jimi Hendrix, right?
Yeah.
But okay, and I used to kind of like understand where they're coming from because we do have this perception of prettiness, and you have to fit this mold and blah blah blah, and I get that. But what I think is beautiful now is with the advent of the internet and all this different type of sharing, whoever can make whatever music now, right?
On their
Put it
own.
out there, yeah.
And just put it out there. There's
Yeah.
this woman, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she's gender neutral. She's kind of heavy set. She's got pretty red hair, and she's got this beautiful voice. Love the way
If
she...
I were a fish and you caught me, you'd say, look at that fish shimmering in the sun. Such a rare one. Can't believe that you caught one. I
love her.
fucking
love
her.
And that woman, that person, that human right
yeah.
there, right? That human is the perfect example of how that idea is blown up.
Yeah.
Anybody can make music. Doesn't matter what you look like, what your gender is, what anything is. You
And
can
how
make
that
something
song
and you can be
resonated
beautiful.
instantly with everyone who's heard it. It could be a...
I have no
is-
fucking idea what you guys
It
are
is
talking
fucking
the
about.
best song ever. They did a pop-up
No,
show
that's California Dreamin'.
in...
It's definitely up there. It's a really good fucking
Yeah.
song. You mentioned Mamas and Papas earlier. Stopped into a church.
Along the way.
Yeah, I love that song.
Yeah.
And it's just and also with I think visibility shifts the standard. So like the more you see people that look like you or people that you feel like, I mean, as someone who I felt like I altered my appearance for a really long time to be something that I wasn't to
Right.
keep up with the standard, and then seeing people that I felt like, even if it didn't look like me right then, it's like, oh, that's what I feel like I should look like, or that's what I feel like would feel good to me.
Right.
Having that in your atmosphere now with TikTok or social media or even, TV and movies, you're having non-binary characters, tatted up people, masculine females, and like you have Lizzo and you have,
Right.
Heavier set people. Like it's now okay. You aren't the only one anymore. Like it's a safety in numbers thing. So I think the beauty standard is shifting. There's still definitely the Photoshop and the contouring and the,
Right.
it's got the same issues that we didn't, but it's a way, I think it's a way safer world to live in than 2001. I don't know how we all survived 2001.
Thinking about it with beauty standard, and that was, what you're like, well, what made you? At first, it was like, let's talk about that, and I'm like, cool, done. But then I'm like, fuck, okay, actually come up with some shit, and I was thinking about how, what I quote thought was hot or desirable. Let's just say, once you discover the joys of masturbation till fucking 20, and you know what that was, and honestly how narrow that was. Granted, this was at the peak
get
of
creative,
Anna Nicole Smith, fucking Pamela Anderson, but like literally blonde, big tits, let's go.
Right.
But that's all we saw.
That's true too.
That's all we saw.
So that's the other thing is like that was the A1 choice.
Exactly. And I think like it's. I was thinking about it on the drive over, like what we think is beautiful. Does it get less beautiful the more often we see it? So, like, because I was driving over and I saw
familiarity breeds discontent.
Yeah, because like
I believe that. Is
I
it
saw
fucked up to move
Rainier,
that to the human thing,
and we never see Rainier pop out. And every time Rainier pops out, I'm like, oh, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I grew up in like at the base of a fucking mountain in Oro Valley. And anytime I take Mandy home, she's like, I can't believe you lived here. It's so beautiful. And I was like, what? Oh yeah, I guess. Like, but I saw it every single day. So I think maybe in human beauty standards, maybe the reason why it's universal beauty standards always changing is because maybe we get bored or we get like a need for something else or to get more in touch with something different inside of ourselves. Or I'm not
to
sure.
be crude or crass, but like before you've slept with someone for the first time, it's an unknown.
Yeah.
Like it's an unknown. Everything's just kind of whatever.
Right.
And then, again, not to be shitty, but like it does change after that.
Right.
Because you automatically... It's now you've quote checked that box, not to view it as that. But
no,
it's
but
just
I know what you mean.
It does, and I think it's for some men it's very exposing because now you're also showing all of your quote whatever.
Well, and I think that's why like the different types of porn that we have now is like off the charts.
I can't even believe this shit.
Well, because like we've had one type of
Don't forget your cables. We grew up with the same shit.
Yes. Like, we had the same stuff.
That was
and now
20 years old. I can tell it's a porn from the 70s. His dick had sideburns. Look, she's eating an apple while he's going down on her.
Dude, nobody gives Bulletproof any props.
I fucking love that movie.
It's at so
It's such a good movie.
on the clickbait shit I've clicked on a million times just to get pissed off. It's like Adam Sandler movies ranked worst to first or whatever, and it just starts off with all the ones I haven't seen, and then ends with like Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, and then a couple that I have. But it's like Bulletproof is always somewhere in the fucking back. Like this movie sucks. I'm like, no, that is when he stopped making good movies. So you should basically have two lists: Bulletproof and
it's
before.
BC and AD.
Yeah, BC. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, so I have a thought about this whole familiarity thing, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's a byproduct of our conditioning, or not conditioning, but our creation, right? So our brain recognizes patterns to save energy, right?
Yeah.
So it sees people, right? I can go deeper into saying, okay, that's Robin, that's Kinzie. Mm-hmm. You recognize this, you recognize that, right? We can keep going down, but for broad brushstrokes, y'all are people, that's a painting, these are walls, right?
Yeah.
So maybe our brain, like, that obviously creates a pattern. We see that every single day. So instead of us having to recreate that all the time, we're just like, yeah, fucking mountain there, got it, all right?
Yeah.
But, and that's the pattern-making brain that we're naturally drawn to. So, and interesting now how there's more of the idea of being more conscious, being more aware, being more present.
Yeah.
So that I think we come into that beauty and we see what we see as beauty every single day because we're now very aware that
present.
This mountain is this mountain
It is.
today.
It is funny though. The
And
mountain
it's not
thing is really
different than
funny.
any other
Yeah.
time, right?
Because if Rainier was out like this all the time, I'd never see her. But every time I drive and she's out there,
But it's just
I
so
like
funny.
almost want to stop my car.
I mean, New Zealand, some of the mountain shits on, especially in Queenstown, the airport you fly in through mountains and shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. And I'm just like, oh my God. I was like, all those poor Kiwis I was talking to, I'm like, this is the most amazing thing. Oh my God, dude, so beautiful. But it's just like, they're just like, yeah, what the fuck ever.
Well, and Mandy and I were even
this is a
like
small town in the middle of fucking nowhere. I would take Seattle any day of the week.
Yeah. Well, and we went up to the Taylor location in Samish, and it was a beautiful day right on the beach. And Mandy turns to me and she goes, "I wonder if we lived out here and we lived by the beach, would the beach still exist? Like, would we still even acknowledge it? Like, if we're out here all the time?" And I was like, God damn, it would just be
water meets
it's
sand.
part of the landscape now. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Being in Victoria, and we were puffing a joint down on the water, and then asked this nice local couple to take a photo of us, and they're talking to us, and they're like, well, we're like, oh, we love the city, blah, 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 but I'm not going to fucking work. I'm like, I had fucking ice cream at like 1 o'clock yesterday. I walked around with fucking ice cream in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
You don't do that shit if you've got shit to fucking do.
Right.
Even if you've got like 7 hours before work, you're not gonna be walking around a fucking sidewalk usually.
No.
No,
it's true. It's totally true. Like it also kind of depends on the mood I'm in too, because like of where I live in Seattle, you can see the Space Needle from like a certain point in the sidewalk, and it's just a straight shot. It's completely lined up with the street, and it's gorgeous when it's a sunset or when the cherry blossoms are out and I can kind of see it. And I remember like sitting and crying in my room in Arizona, just being like, I can't wait to move to Seattle. I can't wait. Like I'd see movies set in Seattle and just be like, oh, when I live there, it's just going to be the best thing. And I'm like grumpy as fuck, trying to get my dogs, trying to get to work, and I don't see any of that anymore.
The human equivalent of
Jeff. Yeah, exactly.
How's Jeff?
We're putting him down tomorrow.
Oh no!
Oh fucking shit, dude! That is some fucked up timing.
I know.
That is some fucked up.
Yeah, but you know
okay?
yes. I mean he's 14.
Okay.
That's a good run.
His heart cannot make it through another summer. His heart is
hot.
it's and he is having a really hard time getting around, and he's making it very clear that he's uncomfortable. Like he just kind of sits in his bed now and just whines for
he's
no
like,
reason.
Ladies,
like,
if you thought I was over it fucking 4 years ago, you ain't even heard shit.
And I
yet.
feel bad because I'm probably putting him down. Not probably. I am putting him down sooner than I did with my other dogs. But I remember sitting there with Georgie and Little Man when we put them down a few years ago, and just being like, we should have done this sooner. Like they were so far gone and so bad by that point. I remember when we put Georgie down, I was like, I'm not going to do this to another dog. Like I let her go for too long, and now I'm in the spot where I feel like I'm doing it too soon, and then I have to remind myself of that moment of being like, I don't want to put him through another year of this, and he's not getting better. Like we are going to maintain status quo or he's going to get worse, and the status quo he is living right now is not fun for him.
You know, in my I've never had a dog or any kind of pet of that nature. Fucking had a goldfish, lasted like 8 years. So that's
that's a long time.
Fucking trucker. Anyway, but in my experience with people that have had pets for a very long time, it goes the other way. In which most of the time. In fact, the most recent
quantity
one,
rather than quality.
The person to put the dog down showed up and was, quote, too late. You know, and that's actually been, in fact, the last 2 times with dogs I fucking knew.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, so it's...
And
you're not alone in that.
With someone like me who has a loves adopting old dogs, it's not that I've gotten numb to it, but I can see the beauty and what
it's like people who do hospice, yo.
It is a hospice situation. Like I go in knowing like I don't get them as puppies. Like I get them when they're 10, 11, 12 years old. I know I have a limited time with them. I give them the best life I can for as long as they want to be here. And I started thinking to myself the other day when I was kind of like going back and forth on whether or not to do it, and I was like, what if he came into my life because he knew that I was going to be the person he needed to make that decision for him? He is just, he's a little grumpy old man. He had no applications. I remember seeing him on the rescue and just being like, we've not had one application for this dog. Like he was supposed to come to me, and they'd had him for months. And he's just been a little joy to be with. And he knows that like that I will be the person to pull the plug in, you know what I mean, at the right time.
The fucking videos back when you were on Facebook, I'm like, come on down to the dog park. We've got Dusty, we've got Springer, and all these like fucking dogs going ape shit, and we got Jeff, and then there's just Jeff like fucking shit. I know that you're videoing me right now.
He's never been. He is the grumpiest dog I've ever met in my life. He doesn't like anyone. He barely tolerates me. Like he's not one of those dogs.
Trails.
Like, cuddles, and he's like, no, I want food. I want a little stroll around the block. I'll do a pet for about 5 minutes, and then you're done. Like he's just in his own little
like
world.
The Walter Matthau.
Yeah, and it's been awesome because this whole week he's like I've just been feeding him whatever he wants. Like on the way home, I'm gonna stop at McDonald's, get him a burger. Get him like little McDonald's ice cream and stuff. Yeah, no onion. Yeah, not that it'll matter, but yeah. So
I'm
like,
just saying, aren't onions bad? But just dogs in general aren't vibing.
Well, they're gassy. You know,
is that what it is?
I'm sure.
I dig onions.
Yeah, just a plain little cheeseburger. But this thing that so many people view as like sad, which it is, it has now become a beautiful thing for me, like in a way, like being able to like help them pass with dignity, help them pass like being like, you know, before they get to a point where they can't.
Put on Tracy Chapman's first album.
Yeah, I'm gonna put on like little Van Morrison.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you. Have you ever heard of the job title or the term death doula?
I'm a dog death doula.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like Kevorkian sometimes, where I feel like I'm just.
We need that.
Yeah,
I have a couple friends that are death doulas.
No wrong with Jack got a fucking.
He got a bad rap.
He did.
Fucking
Like,
bad
he was
rap.
really. He was. I honestly think that man.
I
was
watched that
held
documentary and I was like, so we're mad at him because.
Right.
But yeah, I do feel a little bit like the angel of death, but at the same time, it's just like, if I were him, I'd want this.
Yeah, no, totally.
It is very interesting that someone wearing a tie-dye Bucky shirt is like,
You're
I do feel like an angel.
I feel like the angel of death.
I shit you not, like 2 days ago, I was going, man, I fucking need to get down there. I need to go fucking find me a Buc-ee's. I've never been to a Buc-ee's.
You know what? That's so funny. Like, okay, like I've never heard of that shit until I just started
from
going back.
Texas.
It wasn't there when I was there.
Oh,
it
wasn't
shouldn't be
there.
an excuse, but you've been back since.
No, okay, so this is the thing. Like, it wasn't until like my mom, we were going through that stuff in the past couple of years that we started going back, and I'm like getting cups out of my brother's cabinets, and he's like these big fucking beaver thing on them. I'm like, what is this? Like, I see the Astro shit, I see the old Oilers stuff, Texans got it. What's the beaver guy? They're like Buc-ee's. Like, I was the idiot. And I'm like, the fuck is a Buc-ee's?
She is.
Yeah, it's like the super mall of gas stations.
Truck
and shit.
stop.
Yeah,
basically.
truck
It's
stop.
like-
Fucking
yeah.
huge. They like have
It's
everything.
so much more.
It's like it is a mall. It is a mall.
Target.
Yeah,
it is
crazy.
Walmart. It is a gas station. It is Costco. It is beef jerky land. You can get a pork sandwich.
Oh, I went to a Cracker Barrel leaving Bend,
Ooh,
Oregon,
wow.
a couple months ago. That was a supreme letdown. We didn't eat, but we had to hit up that general store.
Oh yeah, Cracker Barrel.
That general store is like literally like it was the most crappity crap. Like literally like take like the shit on clearance at the end of the kiosk at like a Fred Meyer or like a fucking Kmart. God, now I'm dating myself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
Circle
like,
K.
oh shit, and it's all like they have like end caps of that shit. Just like, oh. People are like, oh.
That's what racists buy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, there's
what racist buy?
Well, this
I
is
fucking
the thing.
bought
Fucking
some
Cracker
taffy.
Barrel, homophobic motherfuckers.
So anyway, back to Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, no, wait, no, real quick on that. There's a Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, one of those videos going around, and this woman talking about how all the chains are just Applebee's variations, and she's like, you got Applebee's, and you got Olive Garden, the Italian Applebee's.
I know some
Red Lobster is
Applebee's.
the under the sea Applebee's, which
Yes,
is kind of funny.
yes.
And then she goes to Cracker Barrel, and she's like, racist Applebee's.
I fucking saw that video. She's like, I will not explain further if you don't get this. Yeah. I think she also does a line of like of different actors. Like Robert De Niro is the this of that. Like I'll
That
have to find it and
motherfucker
send it
just
to you.
had another kid.
Oh my
saw
god! I
that.
was just
79.
talking to somebody about
like,
that.
Like first of all, like
Bonkers,
so irresponsible.
Bobby D, yes, straight up. Like, okay, yeah, Goodfellas was 88, okay? So that would have been 30 fucking years ago. Maybe you should stop siring kids then.
He
My
might
point
not
is,
even make it to the kids'
like,
kindergarten graduation.
outside of the fucking Jack LaLanne kind of motherfuckers, like, I agree that my, like, quote, genetic material is not as sharp as it once was, and there's no fucking way it's sharp.
You know
at
his
79.
little sperm? It looks like fucking crawling.
Oh, there's like how the fuck?
Yeah, little caterpillars and shit.
God, dude, that's that poor kid Barron Trump, dude.
Well,
fucking
not
looks
even
like
that. Just like, okay, so the kid
Fuck.
is going to be physically, financially fine.
Oh, yeah.
You're fucking him up emotionally.
Oh, he's
like
not
you're
gonna
never
have a
gonna
fucking
have
dad.
a dad.
Yeah, dude.
Like, and there are a lot of people that don't have
you
dads.
know, Bobby
but,
D's
like,
gonna
you're
get like
willingly,
polio
like,
or some of those old school like FDR diseases.
It made me so angry.
Might want to edit that out.
Next time you see him, he's going to be in a
42,
wheelchair with a
34.
blanket over him.
42, 30, we'll hit the dump button.
Burp, burp. Oh, fucking hell, man.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so what, have you found yourself ever changing from what you thought was once beautiful to now not, or vice versa? What was like, you used to
all
be
the
like,
time.
no, and now it's like, oh, that's actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like what I thought was attractive when I was I've been talking about like I think it was just access, like certain looks of certain women that I thought were really attractive. Then I look back now, I was like, oh, I just had mom issues maybe, or I had, or just like it was very like one palette, like blonde white women or whatever. But yeah, I also with your comment earlier about like the more present I become, the more I'm aware of certain things that are beautiful that I wouldn't normally think are beautiful, like construction, certain way houses are made, or
what's
like,
there and what's not there is kind of what I kind of look at now when I travel and stuff.
Or just like looking at Bob Ross, painting it, and he can just find beauty in like, oh God, that's a good bush. Oh God, look at that little river. And just I think being in a moment, I can see more beautiful things that I would normally not maybe see.
Yep.
So maybe that's probably the biggest thing that's changed.
I find like when I've started to walk now, especially when I walk Olive, but even like around Marymore or like trails, no headphones.
Yeah,
and
same.
that's that opportunity to like really be present.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And see and like hear the birds and do all that shit. You know?
Yeah.
But there's so much with that, and I think the more that we can appreciate those moments and find what we would consider beautiful, right? I think that strengthens our intuition, because then we start to realize that maybe we don't really think everything that everybody else thinks is beautiful.
Yeah.
But we still find our like gnosis for the reason that we feel it is.
Well,
and then that like kind of strengthens it strengthens you a little bit to be like, like I feel good about like that pothole for some reason. It's like really beautiful the way the water's in there and like the sun hits it. It's a fucking pothole with grease stains. But like right now, for some reason, it's gorgeous for me.
Or just seeing the love and appreciation. We're not trying
to move a water wheel across a sidewalk right now.
That's going to be beautiful, Robin.
Or just seeing, like, acknowledging the love and care that went into, like, a really well-built fence or a bridge or a cabinet, and just being like, God, someone really took a lot of time with this. Or seeing like when Mandy was doing her woodworking class, like she would bring home like certain examples of like what do they call them? Not fishtail.
Dovetail.
Dovetail, thank you. Like little dovetail. I'm like, God, that's just so satisfying to look at. Like, so I think just like not having
Japanese
a million
architecture from back
there
in the day.
Is a guy.
No nails.
There is a guy on TikTok who makes clay pots from scratch, and it is. I will watch it for hours, and it's just the most beautiful process ever, and everything lines up, and he's like fully professional, and it's the most beautiful thing ever. But I think the pot itself isn't beautiful, but just watching it. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel that. I actually find myself watching a lot of that kind of stuff, like
carpet cleaning. Love.
Oh my God, I do all the time. Jesus Christ, man!
I want to go buy
hedge trimming.
It itches my brain.
Plumbing install.
It itches my brain.
Plumbing rough-ins.
Yes.
Love watching plumbing rough-ins. I'm like, how are they getting around that corner? Oh my God, look at that shit.
Ooh,
or people that do free
really
landscaping for bad yards, and then just watching the makeover of like the
there was
clean
a sidewalk there.
Yeah, there's a guy's just
little,
like, do you mind if I clean your front yard and I film it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, please, man.
But yeah, that ASMR brain scratch of like watching a carpet be cleaned, like I can't stop watching it.
So
it's
good.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's just so funny. I remember
can't
I was
even
on
wait.
vacation a couple years ago, and we were hanging out, just killing time. Everyone's kind of fucking around on their phone, and I just walk over to my brother's wife, Karina, and I just see her on her, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that hedge, she's trimming that tree. Yeah, I watched that this morning. Does a good job. But it's just like that was the flavor of the month on the internet, just that day.
Yes.
Fuck, it's so funny.
Yeah, but I think 15 years ago that maybe wouldn't have scratched that itch, because I would have just had too much other stuff on my mind.
15 years ago, 20 years ago, some of the earliest videos I remember, quote, viral videos. You remember that basketball shot from high school where the kid throws the basketball from one end of the court to the other and it catches that small toddler who's running down?
I don't
you
think
remember
I
that?
saw that. No, I don't remember that
It's
one.
like such an old video. It's such
Holy
an old
shit.
video. Oh, yeah, that's a classic one. It's called He Shoots.
I think the first viral video I ever remember was shoes. Oh my God, shows.
Oh my God.
Stock
Oh my God,
fridge.
shows.
Monica and I actually used to watch that at Jillian's together.
Yeah, it was either that or Charlie.
Charlie?
Go to
Or,
Rainbow, Charlie.
Stocked
yeah,
fridge?
yeah.
Did I ever? I showed you stocked fridge.
Stock fridge was great, but the guy in the closet with the acid.
Oh
Whose
yeah, but he
chair is
came
this?
later.
Whose chair is this?
Fucking
Not my chair.
seashells.
Nuts.
Fucking seashells on the seashore. Fuck off. Fuck you.
Yeah, that was
Got
I think
Mr.
y'all
Balloon
introduced me to
hands.
That one. God,
Yeah.
that was
That was a beautiful moment.
That was beautiful.
Mr. Fuck you, Mr. Balloon Hands walking down the sidewalk. Fuck you. Kids these days will never know the simplicity of our fucking viral videos.
Yeah. God damn. Like I think the best we had growing up would have been like America's Funniest Home Videos or
Oh
something.
yeah, absolutely.
Or America's Funniest People on afterwards with Dave Coulier.
Dave
Sitting there
Coulier,
doing
yeah.
like the fucking weird Uncle Joey voices over like every fucking thing.
Yeah, right, totally.
Like just the same voice.
He'd even
for
need
like
to cut it out.
Cut it out.
Get
Dave,
it out.
Dave Coulier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
I actually want to see the because didn't Alanis Morsiettes do a Broadway
I was
version?
gonna
of,
bring it
Is
up.
that Jagged Little Pill? Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
because You Ought to Know is based off Dave Coulier.
Yeah, so I would
Yeah.
love to see
Alright.
how like that all plays.
Well, I
in Broadway.
think the musical is a jukebox musical in the same vein as Mamma Mia, so it's not about Alanis Morissette. They just used her songs to tell the story of like
Okay.
whatever.
All right.
I think I have not seen it, but I would like to. But
You
there's
know,
a good
maybe.
documentary on HBO called Jagged Little Pill, and she talks about the making of the album and how like she's a fucking beast. I love her so much.
I'd actually love to see that.
I mean,
'cause
but
I've always been, like,
what
just
were
wondering.
some of the other hits post that album though?
The Uninvited.
What was that one?
When was it?
Well, I don't know any other song.
You're
That's
out of line. You're
See-
uninvited.
I
know
Another
that song.
I don't.
side. It goes
That
hard.
was
It's
beautiful.
all the
what
good
you just
minor
did.
chords.
I don't even fucking know. It's minor. Oh, it's getting into theory.
It's one of. It is. It is so satisfying to
dissonant.
listen to.
So
dissonant.
just beautiful dissonance.
No, Jagged Little Pill, I think, is one of my 5 like desert albums, desert island albums. Like if I had to take 5, that one
album.
for
It came.
sure
It
is on
came
there.
on. I did my bike right now.
perfect.
I'm a fair weather athlete, so it's nice again. So I was on the bike
you
yesterday,
go.
and one hand. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah. Even when when I was snowboarding, it wasn't nice
4
enough
months
for
a
me
year,
to go.
yeah.
I'm like, nope, I'm not nice enough. I'll fucking hang out here.
Pristine conditions.
Hang out here.
only.
I'll go buy hot cocoa and drink hot cocoa just so I can fucking do that instead. But I one hand in my pocket came on. I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. See, obviously, I'm not going that far of a leap. If that
No.
comes on my Spotify daily mix, because Tracy Chapman's first album's always there.
Yeah,
So,
So
always,
it's like it's not
always.
that big of a leap to go to fucking Jagged Little Pill.
The song
right.
that people sleep on from that album is Right Through You.
Ooh,
That is a good fucking
I listened
song
to
that
that
is
entire album, like, a
not
couple weeks ago,
one like because everyone knows
remember that
Ironic.
one,
You Ought to
yeah.
Know, Hand in Your Pocket. I mean, they're all. I mean, they're all. I think there were like
4 or
however
5
many.
singles,
Yeah, like at least
Yeah.
5. But Right Through You, I don't think was one of them at that level, and I fucking love that track. That's a great
I'll have to
one.
go back and listen to that one. I love like going back and just
Try
like.
to wind down 69 me, but didn't hear a damn word I said.
I remember that
Yeah, it's so good. She felt like Alanis was in the room
song.
right now.
Yeah, right. You did a good like.
Wind down
You got
69
that twang in
me.
her voice. Also about Dave Coulier.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was-
Dave Coulier, 69. Get
Yeah,
out of my
exactly.
brain. Out of my brain. Get out of my
dude.
brain. Get out of my brain.
That's a limp note for me.
No. I'm
Put it
out.
out of order sign.
God.
Also
Oh,
about
it's like
Dave
Human
Coulier.
Centipede. I can't get it out of my head now.
Still never
Too
saw
much.
that.
Don't.
All right,
Please
so
don't.
I was talking about Devin Sawa last night, and I never saw the first final.
I thought he was beautiful.
Oh, Devin
He
Sawa was the shit. So he was in Little Giants. I remember him in Little Giants.
Yes, and now and then,
See, I never saw
as
that.
a lesbian, I thought he was the most
He was a
beautiful thing.
lesbian?
No,
Okay.
him and Chad Michael Murray are like lesbian. They are like honorary lesbians because their style and their haircuts. Like Chad Michael Murray and Freaky Friday. Like I still have a crush on him. Like, but it's because he looks
okay.
like lesbians that I think are attractive.
I can see that.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I
then
don't
Devin
know who that
Sawa in
is.
the 90s. Oh my god.
So yeah,
What's
no,
his
I
name?
remember he was
Devin what?
Devin Sawa,
Yeah, I did
Sawa.
Yeah,
He was
dude,
in
you know Devin-
Casper.
I see. I never saw Idle Hands.
Oh yeah.
I never saw Idle Hands. I remember
Oh
him in
yeah, that's after though.
He was fucking
yeah.
hilarious in SLC Punk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He had
was
a
great.
small part in SLC Punk.
He was on a show recently. Oh my god, what was he
Fucking
on?
Devin Sawa.
He was on
Shout out
Hacks.
Devin Sawa.
He was on Hacks, and he
I don't know what that
fucked
is.
Gene Smart in Hacks. And I go,
You fucked
I
Gene
know.
Smart?
Yeah, and I was like, I know that face. How do I know that face? Because he's obviously aged, and he still looks like him and sounds like him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that's fucking Devin Sawa, fucking Gene Smart right now. And I had to Google it, and I was like, oh my god. And I recognized him from his voice before I saw his face. Like his voice is just imprinted on
Devin Sawa.
my middle school
I
brain.
need to see Final Destination. I need to see the first one.
Yeah.
I've seen the
That's
fifth
the only
one.
one I've seen.
I've seen the fifth one. I have
Ooh.
not seen any of the other ones.
You know
Yeah.
which one you should watch? There's another one with Devin Sawa and kid from Home Jesse JTT and Scott Wolf. Maybe
Scott Wolf
No.
from fucking Party of Five?
Maybe, but I'm not sure. Something Scott Wolf adjacent. But they play.
Zach Galligan from
Yeah,
fucking
I can't remember his name,
adjacent.
but it's they play three brothers, and it's a true story about like this wilderness documentary guy about his childhood, about like how he fell in love with being a wilderness documentarian. It's like set in the 60s or whatever.
I think I've seen that.
I know you have, and I
Yeah.
can't think of the name of it right now.
is that?
But it is.
go back
I
on
have
that phone?
seen
Yeah.
that movie.
I try to go off the
many
dome.
times.
Adam goes off the phone. Look
No,
at Devin
hold on.
Sawa.
It's like America, Wild America.
Oh.
Wild America.
Oh,
Totally.
see,
Yeah.
I knew I got
Yeah.
it before the phone did.
Oh, I
There
can
you go.
remember.
Wild
Didn't that
America.
have the three of them up on the clouds?
Yes.
Like on the
Yeah.
cover?
What I remember is the three of them in a bear cave with clearly people inside bear suits in the bear cave. And they were like, even when I was 8, I was like, that's a fucking man in a bear
Did you ever
suit.
see The Bear? The movie The Bear?
No, but I want to see Cocaine Bear.
Oh, it's good.
It's good?
Yeah, it's worth. Yeah, I mean, it's like silly. Yeah, Margot Martindale's worth the price of admission. She's great in it.
But no, I've never
Character
seen
actress
the Bear.
Margot Martindale.
Yeah. That was a movie that came out in like 89. It was like I think it was
Oh,
like
I'm thinking of
documentary.
The Edge. About
That's a
the
good
bear.
fucking movie. The Edge is Jaws with claws. Alec Baldwin and
Oh,
Anthony.
really?
Yeah,
Anthony
yeah,
Hopkins.
that was Anthony Hopkins, Alec Baldwin, Elle McPherson.
Holy shit, that's a hell of a
Holy
cast.
shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
What pulled that one out?
What's it
I
called
forgot.
again?
The Edge.
The Edge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should check that out,
Yeah.
dude. That's the shit.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
That movie's the shit. Yeah, dude. Sorry, Devin Sawa. We're gonna have to move that
Those are
aside.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right, well, anything else on Beatty?
No, I got nothing. Man.
All right.
Well, just like to end the episode saying that Jeff was a wonderful dog.
Oh,
and
rest
I'll
in
miss
peace,
him
Jeff.
greatly. Rest in peace, Jeff.
Yes.
We love you, buddy.
Love you, Jeff.